What if India's scorching heat and power cuts mean it will be the first nation left behind when AI takes over? I'm Felix. Welcome to Felix Feel World. If I told you that when AI becomes the future, India will be the first country to be abandoned, would you believe it? It's not just that this country can't stay in this race. Every single ordinary person in India is going to be left behind too. A lot of people are still talking about the demographic dividend, about young people, about the world's factory, about whether India will replace China in the future. But here's the thing, that's the logic of the industrial age, not the AI age. What decides a country's fate today isn't how many people you have, but how many of those people are about to be replaced by robots. What's the most direct result of no water and no electricity? You completely miss out on the fourth industrial revolution, the AI era. Right now the whole world is going all in on AI. We all know what AI needs, right? Three things: chips, electricity, and cooling. Count on your fingers, does India have an advantage in any of these three? Not a single one. Chips are blocked. Let's not even go there. Just talk about electricity and cooling. If you were Elon Musk, if you were Sam Altman, would you be out of your mind to build $1 trillion AI data center in a place that hits 50 degrees Celsius all the time, has power outages every few days, and where even basic electricity requires you to have your own diesel generator? No way. Computing centers are the new digital oil fields. Without data centers, India has no data sovereignty. All that software outsourcing and IT services, they're so proud of every line of code they generate in the future. Every piece of user data will become digital fertilizer, stored in data centers in other countries. Those countries process your data, run their algorithms, and devour your market. And on top of that, the Indian government has to worry about how to deal with massive job losses from AI. You know, their service sector is huge, especially those junior coders and outsourcing customer service reps. They're the first to get swept away by AI. And there's the water crisis. You know what else AI consumes? Water. So the question is, does India have water? Does India have the conditions to cool AI? Sorry, not a single one. And all of this starts with India's crazy heatwave this year. Recently, India's extreme heat hit the trending topics again. Actually, high heat isn't surprising. It happens every year, and every year, a few people die from it. But this year is even more ridiculous. Out of the 100 hottest cities in the world, India alone has 98. At the end of April, New Delhi recorded a terrifying temperature of over 45 degrees Celsius. Banda hit 46.2 degrees during the day, taking the top spot for that day's high temperature. Imagine the scene. On the asphalt roads, footprints everywhere, all kinds of metal tools too hot to touch. Turn on the tap, and you get 50-degree hot water straight out. Hey, free hot water for everyone, I guess. Walking down the streets of India, every breath you take is scorching hot air. Stray dogs and cats can't take the heat either, collapsing by the roadside, smelling like cooked meat. In such an extreme environment, don't come at me with talk about demographic dividends and blue ocean markets. Honestly, even trying to hype India right now feels a bit awkward. Over the past 10 years, global capital has been rushing into India, thinking it's paved with gold. But today, I'm going to throw cold water on that. No, boiling water. Don't jump on me yet, saying I'm bad-mouthing them. My judgment is straightforward. India has no hope for the future. Why? Because the things AI needs most are exactly what India lacks most: electricity, cooling, and stable infrastructure. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio had the chance to visit India a couple of days ago. During an outdoor speech, the first thing he said was, "It's too hot. I want to keep this short." It's not that he's being dramatic. India's heat can make your body feel over 50 degrees. You wouldn't even take a hot shower with 50-degree water. If people have to live in such an environment, honestly, the only thing that comes to mind is being in hell. The most comfortable temperature for humans is 22 to 23 degrees. Above 50 degrees, every cell in your body rejects it. Forget normal work, just staying alive is hard. A lot of Indians have literally died from the heat. Although India often releases lists of people who died from heat stroke. Honestly, I don't really believe those numbers. Think about it. 50-degree heat killing only a few hundred people? That doesn't make sense. In India, air conditioner penetration is less than 10%. Many hospitals, when handling heat stroke deaths, write things like common cold or organ failure on the death certificate. Anything but heat stroke, but it's really the heat that killed them. It wouldn't be surprising if tens of thousands die from heat every year. Against this backdrop, India's national fate is basically sealed. Don't expect them to turn things around. Don't think I'm exaggerating. First, think about why air conditioner penetration is so low in India. One reason is poverty. According to India's official periodic labor survey, data from 2022 to 2023 shows that the average monthly salary for rural full-time workers is about 1,391 RMB. For urban full-time workers, about 1,942 RMB. And the national average is around 1,691 RMB. Buying an air conditioner in India costs about 2 months' salary for an ordinary person. Honestly, that's not a small amount, but compared to dying, it's not huge either. Except for the very poorest, many families can grit their teeth and buy one. The problem is, they can afford to buy it, but can't afford to use it. According to India's National Power Company data, the highest tier of residential electricity rates is close to 10 rupees per kilowatt hour. After installing an air conditioner, the monthly electricity bill can eat up a quarter of your salary. The heat only lasts a few months a year, so many families think, we'll just tough it out, better than paying the bill. Sorry, but the problem doesn't end there. Because for many Indian families, even if you can afford to buy it and use it, you still can't afford the damage. India's electricity supply has long been in shortage. In many areas during peak hours, the lights flicker like a dance club. After installing an air conditioner, besides being there for decoration, they often doesn't actually do much. Modern economies are electricity economies. No electricity means nothing. No factories, no industry, no future. But how terrible India's power system is, I don't need to tell you. To this day, many places haven't completed basic modern power infrastructure. For every degree the temperature rises, peak electricity demand shoots up. Imagine 50-degree heat. With fans and air conditioners running at the same time, of course, the grid will collapse. Worse still, high heat doesn't just make you need more electricity. It also makes it harder to generate electricity. Thermal power plants need cooling water. If the temperature is too high, cooling efficiency drops. Are solar panels afraid of heat? Yes. In high temperatures, power generation efficiency drops directly. Are transmission lines afraid of heat? Yes. Resistance increases, losses increase, failure rates increase, and there's even risk of fire. Just at the end of last May, in the Punjab region, due to peak electricity demand, some cities had continuous power outages for 4 days. Even hospital backup diesel generators were almost running dry. Now even in the capital New Delhi, many areas have to have rotating power outages every day. For ordinary people, this is just a bit hot. But for AI, it's a death sentence. Why? Because AI data centers aren't afraid of high costs, they're afraid of instability. If you make GPT a little slower, users can tolerate it. But if you suddenly shut down an entire data center, that's an accident. What do top global data centers value most? Power supply stability. Many require 99.99% uptime, with annual downtime no more than a few hours. In many parts of India, they can't even guarantee normal electricity for residents. Do you think Elon Musk would build a data center there? Do you think Sam Altman would? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. So a lot of people see the heat, but I see the national fate. Because the heat is slowly destroying India's most important future infrastructure, electricity. And without electricity, the door to the AI era is half closed from the start. We've talked about the electricity crisis. Now let's talk about the water crisis. But before we get into India, let me ask you a question. Besides electricity, what else does AI consume? A lot of people think it's chips, but that's wrong. It's water. In 2023, Google released some data that shocked a lot of people. In 2022, Google consumed 5.6 billion gallons of fresh water. What does that mean? Roughly 8,500 Olympic swimming pools worth of water. And that's just Google. Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, all these tech giants are huge water consumers. Because AI data centers are essentially piles of super hot steel monsters with thousands of GPUs running 24/7, generating insane amounts of heat. You have to cool them, right? The simplest way is water. You either use water or you use electricity. You have to use one. So now you know why the whole world is fighting over energy, water, and low temperature regions. Because these things will become hard currency in the computing age. So the question is, does India have these things? Sorry, not a single one. India is the world's largest consumer of groundwater, accounting for 1/4 of global extraction. 62% of the world's irrigation and 85% of drinking water rely on groundwater. Notice, I'm not saying depend, I'm saying barely survive. According to NASA satellite monitoring data, over the past 20 years, groundwater levels in northern India have dropped catastrophically. The eastern state of Uttar Pradesh sees an average depletion rate of 7 centimeters per year, and some areas have dropped as much as 46 centimeters in a year. This isn't just water shortage, this is mortgaging the future. Worse, after excessive groundwater extraction, heavy metal concentrations rise. Industrial wastewater and agricultural pollution come along with it. In many places, the water pumped out isn't just a question of whether you can drink it, it's whether drinking it will harm you. If over the next 50 years, India's temperature continues to rise by another 5 degrees, and there has been research simulating this, the result is simple. The groundwater system collapses. Rivers dry up. Drinking water is cut off. High heat accelerates evaporation, making the already uneven water distribution even worse. Not only can agriculture not be irrigated, but even basic living conditions for residents become problematic. Several major rivers in northern India originally relied on glacial meltwater. Glaciers are basically natural ice reservoirs, store water in winter, release it in summer. But with global warming, glaciers are melting faster. So you get this really bizarre phenomenon. India either has massive floods or extreme drought. First they get flooded, then they run out of water. A lot of people find that contradictory. But it's not. Because glaciers are spending the deposits of decades in advance all at once. In the short term, more water. In the long term, the source is gone. Now look at the demand side. India's population has surpassed China's world number one. Water consumption and pollution are skyrocketing. Agriculture needs water. Thermal power plants need water. Industry needs water. Billions of people need to drink. On one hand, the source is shrinking. On the other, demand is growing. This isn't just a question of whether water is expensive. It's a question of whether people will go to war over water in the future. For AI, the problem is even more serious. Future data centers need stable, large quantities of high-quality fresh water. So the question is, does India have it? Definitely not from the Ganges. Groundwater is dropping. Glacial meltwater is decreasing. High heat keeps evaporating. And even the Brahmaputra River is being dammed upstream in Tibet. So to put it bluntly, the two most important resources for the AI era, electricity and water, India is losing both. Now look back. Would Elon Musk build a data center in India? Would Sam Altman? The answer is clear. Don't even talk about getting into the UN Security Council. I'd say 50 years from now, the only ones left will be low-caste people who can't escape. Let's stop talking about demographic dividends. If anyone was shouting about demographic dividends back in 2020, they were pure liars, especially those European and American experts who love to hype India up. What do they say? They say China's population is aging no good. They say India's average age is only 28, all young people. They say assembly lines need grunt workers who can do overtime. So India is going to take off and replace China as the new world factory. Hey, those people even gave India a nickname, Emperor Modi, the ultimate winner. But with no electricity winning what? That old-fashioned logic in 2020. It was pure nonsense. What decides a country's fate today isn't how many people you have, but how many of those people are about to be replaced by robots. There's a formula. M approximately equals Z, and Z equals X plus Y. M is total social productivity, how much the country can produce. X is you, me, all the workers, the human productivity earned with our hair, our lower backs, and the red flags on our medical checkups. Y is AI plus robots, charging forward like mad dogs over the past couple of years. These things don't need sleep, don't need social insurance, and aren't afraid of being too old at 35 inches. China, that's the cutoff age. What's Z? Z is total global human demand. In the short term, Z is basically a constant. What does that mean? 8 billion people eat 3 meals a day, buy so many phones a year, drive so many cars, run so many air conditioners. Even if Indians try their hardest, the market isn't going to suddenly have billions more mouths to consume just because you're young. You get it? Now here's the most painful part. When Y shoots up like a rocket, and Z doesn't move at all, what happens? Mathematically, X has to drop. What is this? It's the labor crowding out effect. Put simply, the wolf, that is robots, runs into the sheep pen. It doesn't eat grass. It takes your job directly, without even saying hello. You think assembly lines need people? Wrong. The trend now is that assembly lines don't need people at all. You think customer service needs people? Wrong. AI is cheaper than customer service. You think programmers need people? Wrong. AI is eating up a lot of entry-level positions. Jensen Huang of NVIDIA once said, in the future there will be only two kinds of people. Those who control AI, and those who are controlled by AI. Which kind do you think India's billions of barely educated young people will be? When the whole world is pushing Y like crazy, and Z is almost unchanged, India's extra billion young people aren't a dividend at all. What is a dividend? A dividend is when you can both work and be absorbed by the market. But now, factories worldwide are installing robots. Companies are automating. You're almost out of opportunities to be exploited, because robots are even cheaper to exploit. So I'm telling you, India's population isn't a dividend. It's a ticking population bomb. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The closer the time, the louder the sound. One day, when India's young people realize they have no assembly lines to work on, no land to farm, and even the last delivery job has been taken by robots. On that day, forget about winning big. If they don't blow up South Asia, you can thank your lucky stars. So stop talking to me about India replacing China. Let them survive first. So India's billion young people aren't a dividend, they're a ticking bomb. If automation steals every job before they get a chance, the real question is whether they learn to control AI or get controlled by it. If you like this, hit subscribe for more stories like this.